Good to have you here with us on TRT World. Now, the fact that coup leaders in Niger announced an interim government right before the start of the summit, ECOWAS summit in Abuja, goes to show that the coup leaders are not ready to back down.
Apparently so. They announced the cabinet midnight, and all actions of the coup leaders point to attempt to consolidate their hold onto power. Not just announcing the cabinet, they have also, had series of meetings with the military junta in Mali, in Guinea, as well as Burkina Faso over the last couple of days. But nonetheless, there is the possibility of diplomacy still at work. The Council of Ulamas from Nigeria, made up of Islamic religious leaders led by the former emir of Kano, they were in Niger, and it was the only meeting, non-negotiation meeting that has taken place between the junta and the delegation outside of Niger. And I'm also aware that the former emir of Kano, Emir Sanusi, briefed President Tinubu yesterday evening, overnight, this morning, about the outcome of the conversation with the military leader. And President Tinubu must have taken the message from Emir Sanusi into the ECOWAS summit today.
Right, and Olawale Ismail, so as I understand, there are two main blocs which are actively engaged in solving the crisis in Niger. One is, of course, the Western Bloc, made up of countries like the United States and France, and the second one is ECOWAS. Now, given the fact that Niger was a former French colony, who do you think the people within Niger would want to solve this crisis? The ECOWAS bloc or the Western Bloc?
Apparently, if we are to believe what we see in the media and what is being widely reported, it will be none of those two blocs, partly because ECOWAS has taken a very strong stance against the military coup, and there is a wave of anti-French, but also anti-West sentiment across the Sahel, across former French colonies in Africa. Of course, the population will always be divided. There will be those that will be anti-French, anti-ECOWAS, and there will be those that are sympathetic to France still. So that will always, be the case. But the people that have openly come out in civil society in Niger so far have demonstrated in support of the junta, and that by implication means they have an anti-French, anti-Western perspective to this. But nonetheless, I think religious leaders, religious bodies, they play a very key role across Africa when it comes to situations as this in conflict resolution and conflict management. So it might just be that we look forward to the role played by non-state actors, especially religious organizations, religious bodies in this instance, who are able to find a middle course between the two extremes by France and the West and ECOWAS on the one hand, who are insisting on a return, a restoration of the ousted democratic regime on the one hand. And then you have the military junta, which is insisting that no, it will not restore to democracy immediately. Typically, when you have this situation, you always find a common ground, which is a negotiated transition. It might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 3 years, it might be 4 years. But whether the religious leaders are able to broker this is something to be seen. In terms of the prospect of military action, I still don't believe ECOWAS will order a military action from this current summit. There is still a long a long way to go before it gets to
So if
military
I may
action.
interject here, so if ECOWAS is not going to order a military action, that indicates that chances for democracy to be restored within Niger are very less, because up until now we have not seen any sort of positive signal coming from the coup leaders that they are willing to restore democracy.
Yes and no. If you look at historical antecedent in Niger, but also in other countries where you've had coup in Africa, at least in the last 15, 20 years, it has always been a negotiated transition period, a transition back to democracy, whereby they order a new constitution, new elections, and new national dialogue and consultations and the rest. That has always been what has happened. It has not really happened that, at least in West Africa, that democracy is automatically restored. No, it has always not happened. So maybe this might be a game changer. Maybe ECOWAS is going to insist that democracy be restored immediately rather than agree a 12, 18 months or 24 months transition period. So that is what is most likely going to happen. But maybe this is a game changer for ECOWAS. Maybe the wind of coups that are blowing, maybe ECOWAS feels that it needs to take a strong stand against it in order to, to stop coup spreading across West Africa. We have to wait and see. But I don't think from this current summit, the chances of ECOWAS authorizing a military action is very slim. But nonetheless, the option of military action is still going to be on the table for very obvious reasons.
All right, fascinating insights into the topic. Olawale Ismail, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.
Thank you.